Hey, Mike from Rimshot Studio here. I hope you're well. This is my first video from the studio in a while. It's about using compression on drum room mics to add a little bit of magic. Now, I know you're thinking there are loads of videos on this kind of stuff, and there are, but I haven't seen any using the particular piece of equipment we're going to be using today, which is an EAR 660. Now, the 660 is a very new compressor, similar to a Fairchild. These are designed by Tim DeParavicini. Sadly, Tim is no longer with us. The best way I can describe these is musical. Everything that you put through them just sounds better. It's the only piece of equipment I've got in the studio that I'll use for recording, mixing and mastering. They're impossible to make sound bad. At least that's what I think. Okay, so these are the compressors we're going to use. I'm going to start by putting a bit more level into them. Yeah, it's starting to really sing. That's great. I'm going to use a slightly higher ratio, a bit counterintuitive on these. And let's reduce the threshold a little bit as well. Okay, and I'm going to shorten the release time. That sounds great. The meters are moving, so it's doing something. This is the fantastic Pete Wheeler from the Wild Things on drums. This was a session we did a few years ago. And he knows how to get a great drum sound. It's beautiful, big, open, fantastic way he tunes his drums and everything. We're using the compressors on a hardware insert in Pro Tools, and what that means is that we're playing the sound out of the computer, we're going through the compressors, the analog compressors, back into the computer, and essentially it's this little block here. And the great thing is with Pro Tools HDX, which is what we're using, is that it appears when you're mixing as if it's just a plugin. It's so simple to use. I've got a little bit of EQ, which isn't really relevant to the compression. I'm notching out a few resonances in the room that I didn't like before we go to the compressors. And then I'm using this EQ, which this is a great sounding EQ. It looks like I'm just adding stuff everywhere. Some more lows, some more mids, some more highs. More is more, right? And this is just adding a bit more weight to stuff. One thing I thought I'd show you while I'm here is the difference between the hardware compressor and its equivalent plugin. I've got the UAD Fairchild up on here. I'm going to start with the hardware one, flip to the Fairchild and go back, and I'll do that a couple of times so you can have a listen, make up your own mind. Play that for you one more time from the top, this time with the Fairchild, and then I'm going to swap to the EARs. So there you go. Okay, so some things to look out for are hitting the compressor in its sweet spot. There's a point with these EAR compressors where you wind the gain up and all of a sudden everything just starts to sing. There's extra harmonics going on. It feels euphoric, whether it's on a vocal or a bass guitar, or in this case drums. It's something really special. And plugins have a similar kind of thing as well. You know, there's a region where they really start to feel and sound good. So I would experiment with that. Another thing that is easy to miss is just focusing on the sound that the compressor and the compression is adding, as opposed to the feel. With the attack and release time, it's possible to make something feel more urgent, to make it feel more present, to make it feel on edge, or the complete opposite and make it feel like it's sort of sitting back a bit, it's lazier, it's more relaxed, more comfortable. And those two feelings are something that you get used to very quickly dialing in with the attack and the release, and how much of it you're using. And for me, those are the things I use compressors for when I'm mixing and recording, more than the sound. The feel is something really important, so I would focus on that. The number one thing when doing this is to listen in context. So in this example, we've only got drums to listen to, but if it was part of a track with a band, we will be listening to the ratio, the attack and the release, the amount, you know, where the threshold is, the amount that we're mixing back in proportion to the original signal. All of that we will be doing with everything else going on, because otherwise you can get a fantastic sounding and feeling drum track, but it might not be helping the song, and that's what we're all about doing. There's no right way or wrong way to do this. If it feels good, it is good. That's all that matters. If you've enjoyed this, please hit the like and the subscribe button. Let us know what you'd like more of. There's a link to our website and newsletter, which has got discounts on mastering and things like that. Thanks for listening, and look after yourselves and each other. See you next time.